this leakage and everything is, I can talk like it is out of your curriculum, but there might be some kind of questions might be asked with respect to the gate kind of exams. So because of that reason, I have kept some slides on the leakage, how the leakage takes place, and what is meant by subthreshold current, all those things. So I'll just move on with this particular slide. Here, the leakage and the subthreshold current in the dynamic pass gates or the dynamic transistor gates. The charge can leak off the storage capacitor mainly from the two sources. See now, there are two sources for the leaking of the charge which is stored at the capacitor of the output. Well, the first one is that it is at the PN junction leakage, the PN junction leakage of the NMOS drain, and that is the source junction, and also subthreshold current through the MP. That's a MOSFET, P MOSFET, when the gate goes to the 0 volts. Coming to the PN junction, what is this PN junction? If we are talking about a diode, you're talking about a diode. How come a diode has come into this transistor? We know that diode is nothing else but it's a combination of P and N type of semiconductors. So now here, when it comes to the transistor is nothing else but it's a combination of P and P. It's a combination of 3 different types of semiconductors. So now every transistor will be having 2 kinds of diodes. One is PN and it is NP. So definitely a transistor will be having 2 kind of PN junction diodes. At the junction of the PN junction diode, there is a chance that the leakage of leakage current takes place. That mostly happens here in the dynamic CMOS logic. We will be dealing only with the NMOS structure. So therefore, it happens at the NMOS drain, or else it happens at the source junction. And next one is the subthreshold current, the current that is a off current. Whenever the circuit is off, even in that case also there is a scope that small amount of current flows through the circuit, even though the gate is down to 0 volts. That happens even in this MOSFET MP. Now, one can solve for maximum amount of time that charge can be retained on the CX, that is a capacitor which is connected to the output, which we call it as a storage capacitor, using the differential equation. That is this formula. We all know that I equal to C dV by dt. That's the amount of current which is stored in a capacitor in the form of charge. So I equal to C dV by dt, where I is nothing else but it's the total current of the reverse PN junction leakage and also I of current. Now what is C? C is the total amount of capacitance due to the gate, junction and wire, and also polysilicon capacitances. So C is the total capacitance which is formed at the gate, at the junction, and due to the wires. Wire is nothing else but the wiring connection or the metal wiring between the different layers which we have seen in the layouts, or else it can even be between the polysilicon and also other kind of metal layers. There's a polycapacitances. Then the maximum allowable the voltage in the preserved stage of the logic 1 level is known as, what is that maximum allowable voltage? The allowable voltage which can be allowed through this particular logic is equal to delta V minus VDD minus VTN, that is the threshold voltage of an N transistor, minus half of the VDD. That is that when you totally, if you try to do some kind of mathematics over here, you will get it as half VDD minus VTN. So this is the total amount of allowable voltage. If I supply some voltage is equal to 1 volt, then it is a minus, it's like half minus 0.4 volts. Why? Because the threshold voltage of your transistor is between 0.4 and 0.5. So now if I take it as 0.4 or 0.5, so it is like 0.5 minus 0.4, it will be like 0.1 voltage will be the maximum amount of voltage in this example which I have taken right now. So now how to calculate the frequency? Then the maximum amount of frequency of this operation can be found by this formula, that is equal to F equal to 1 by 2 times of this time which is taken to charge that capacitor. That is 1 by 2 times of this time taken. So this is how you're supposed to calculate this frequency, minimum frequency of that operation. And this is one small signal diagram of the drain and substrate PN junction, which has been found here. You can see one of the diode has been found between the drain and the substrate, and another diode will be found between the source and the substrate. So in that way, you'll be having 2 different diodes which are formed inside a transistor. And this is the diagram for the CMOS inverter, dynamic CMOS inverter diagram, where you'll be having a pre-charge transistor and evaluate transistor. Inside this one, you'll be having one N transistor which will act as an CMOS inverter diagram. And let us see the truth table of this dynamic CMOS logic for the two-phase operation. That is, two-phase means for the pre-charge and evaluate phase. Whenever the clock equal to 0, the inputs of the logic will be in a don't care situation. Means you're not to think about how the inputs will be acting. Why? Because all the inputs, even though it is provided some input, it will not be in the active state. So because of that reason, always whenever it is a pre-charge state, your output will be always high. Now, when it comes to the evaluate state, evaluate state is nothing else but when the clock equal to 1, if you provide some valued inputs, depending upon the valued inputs of the logic structure, you will be getting some output. It means that if my logic structure is A dot B, depending upon that inputs provided there, your output will be A dot B, Y equal to A dot B. And this is one of the structure for the NAND gate. This is how you will be drawing the structure. This one, right, from A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. Just a minute, I'm looking for the time. Okay, we have got 3 more minutes. We'll try to wind up it. For the NAND gate, this is for the NAND gate, A, B, C, D. Here, all these are connected in the series connection. It means it is like A, B, C, D, A dot, B dot, C dot, D operation for the N logic structure. And this both are, this is a pre-charge MOSFET and this is a evaluate MOSFET. And ultimately, you get an output as A dot, B dot, C dot, D. And this is the characteristics which you have seen up to now. Regarding it, it needs some N+2 transistors for the dynamic and 2N for the static CMOS. And the static power is negligible in this case, and the short circuit power is none in case of dynamic. When it comes to the dynamic, there will be no glitches. Why? Because following the pre-charge state, signals can either make a transition from only in the one direction, either from 1 to 0 or no transition. That is 1 to 1. And only logic transition will be taking place when all the nodes of the logic 0 are charged to VDD during the pre-charge phase. So this is regarding what happens in the different kinds of structures which you have talked now in the previous slides. And switching speeds. The switching speed is that the few transistors means smaller node capacitances. Since you got only few number of transistors, because of that reason, the node capacitance will be very small. Capacitance will be very small, and also no short circuit current takes place. Because of the short circuit current, what happens? That the slowing down of the discharging of capacitance takes place. But here, whenever the no short circuit takes place, therefore there will be no slowing down of the discharging of capacitor. And also only the dynamic power consumed, but not but can be higher than the CMOS. This power which is consumed here, it is a disadvantage of the dynamic CMOS logic structure. For the dynamic logic structure, the dynamic power will be more compared to the CMOS, and this is the only major disadvantage compared to the static CMOS structure. And this is a few more slides. We'll try to look it in the next class. We have, if we complete 1 or 2 slides, we'll complete the dynamic CMOS structure, and later we'll enter into the domino CMOS logic.